gotta talk about the implications of Premium Pack 2026. Make sure you guys smash the crap out of that Predaplant button so you guys don't miss out on more Oz content. So this is kind of interesting because one of the emphasizing things that we got out of this premium pack was Predaplant cards. We actually, I believe, got two. We got a fusion spell, and we ended up getting basically a board wipe, discard your hand, clear out, your opponent's monsters, everything that's lower than a Starving Venom on your field, and then basically OTK your opponent through that effect. It's a little bit cheesy, but it does bring up the question of, why did they choose Predaplant? Because Predaplant has not had support in a good couple years, and it's this sort of stuff that you take a look at and you go, is there a possibility that we could see more Predaplant stuff? Because I don't even know what you do at this point. But to be fair, I mean, we did go through a whole arc where we did get, a whole Zark retrain. Throughout the years, they've been trickling in little bits and pieces from, Zark and those different Dimension Dragons. We already had the Speedroid retrains. Starving Venom just kind of sits there in the back, kind of as the oddball out at this point. So I am kind of curious what they could do for Predaplants and how soon would we see Predaplants. Because usually when they're doing things like these within sets, it does kind of point and beg the question of, are we going to see something at some point in the near future? And I wouldn't be surprised to see in sometime in the next year, something trickles down for Predaplants as kind of a power-up. Because a lot of the theme stuff that we've already got has already been printed. They've already given us additional cards for, like, Hero, for example, where, we just came off of all of that support, and they're like, here's additional masked Hero stuff. So maybe this is a foretelling of what's to come in the future here. Which now takes us to Yu-Gi-Oh! R. Learning Elf was this year's kind of little dump-in support that they gave us, which actually was kind of cool, actually. I like that, we finally got Learning Elf, but in addition to Learning Elf, we got the entire mechanic around it. And they've been trying to give us little bits and pieces from Yu-Gi-Oh! And you're probably like, what is Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! R is this little spin-off manga with, what was it, Pegasus's brother or something? Yako Tenma? It had the Wicked Avatar, the Wicked Eraser. These cards that never got animated, but they are actually massive powerhouse. I mean, even to this day, the Wicked Avatar, I think, is one of the craziest Floodgate cards printed, because it literally tells your opponent they can't do spells and traps for 2 whole turns after it's summoned. And that is kind of ridiculous to think about, that you're slapping that much of a condition onto something like that. It does feel a little bit overpowered, but it's kind of the takeaway here. You're trading in massive power for, a little bit of brokenness, but I do think we're going to continue to see things trickle down from Yu-Gi-Oh! R. Yu-Gi-Oh! R has not been something that gets a lot of its cards handed out to us. I mean, we're still missing the Divine Hierarchy +1 Obelisk Tormentor, where he levels up into Ra's domain. I would love to see that, but I don't know how much they can actually do on the forefront of the Egyptian gods because of Kazuki's passing. So it really just kind of depends. But I do think that we will continue to see stuff for that. And then there's the Maid series. I probably Robbie, the Maid series. What are you talking about? So we've gotten 2 Witchcrafters, basically. Jenny in the Maid outfit, or at least supposedly Jenny. And then we got Vure, the Servant of Endymion, dressed up as a maid. And this also kind of overlooms into Witchcrafter as a whole. At this point in time, what we've been seeing is Konami is trying to give Witchcrafter support very, very, very delicately without having to basically restructure the entire archetype. Because I'm going to be honest with you, the current state that Witchcrafter is in is truly abysmal. It is not a place that you want to leave an archetype because it's so unplayable. So they've been having to do the scrap thing where they're like, well, at least we'll give them 1 to 2 playable cards so you can kind of splash them into other packages. And that's unfortunately where we've been left right now in the current state of the deck. I'm not too happy with it, but it is what it is. Do I think we're going to get more of these made monsters and more Witchcrafter stuff? Yes. 100%. Konami and the current series have been, the lore has Alistair the Invoker in it. I believe we're just now getting to the first Prophecyr part of the lore. The lore is truly massive for how much is available for that space. So I am very curious, if we will see and what we will see, or will we actually finally see Konami, give some gosh darn good support to Witchcrafter and actually give them the proper love that they need. And then there's this Darklords. So Darklords got wave 1 in the Burst Protocol, which was fantastic. We get the trap card, the Angel Falling into the Dark, in Premium Pack. Does that mean that there's going to be more Darklord support along the way? I almost feel like there's going to be. Konami's been doing this thing where they will print support in one set, and then they will basically hold back a card. But in this case, they dumped a card into premium packs, and they could kind of, manage it around. The little sneaky guys, anime tie-ins are kind of a little interesting thing. But anyway, they do this thing where they give support in one, and then they'll give another support card in the next. I would not be surprised to see in the upcoming set here that we would see some sort of Darklord support. Now, I don't know what you gotta give to this deck. Do you have to give them another monster to up their consistency? Because that's been the thing that Darklords have needed for their whole life. They've needed just better access to the little dudes. Ukelbach was a fantastic addition, but it's like, oh boy, can't wait to draw all of these garbage, unplayable powerhouse boss monsters that are gonna do nothing to basically facilitate my endgame. And I think that's been a lot of our disappointment lately is just, oops, too many big guys. Like, what am I supposed to do when I have a party of all these guys and I don't see the X-Chell? Yeah, you can roll out Nasty, but like, at that stage, it's just, oops, too many bricks, not enough. So I'm hoping, with the additional Darklord card here for Premium Pack, that we will continue to see more being trickled out for this. I think this seems very likely. And then we've got Hero. You can never stop giving Hero players cards. Every Hero player has loved this Hero support. Actually, I don't really blame them because it's all been so good and so strong. And honestly, Fountain was a broken card to give to them. You also gave it to Rizel for being a free extender, but I digress. That's fine. Overall, I think the future for Hero support, I think we're going to see a little bit of a cooldown on Hero stuff. There's only a few masked heroes left that Konami can kind of print, but I think they were testing the waters this year with the Tactical Tri-decks and seeing, hey, can we actually, can we make a small number of cards and see if people are going to reach for these and buy the product? And while, Dark Magician and Tactical Tri were not exactly very, very, very popular. They're popular, but they weren't enough to really sell the Tactical Tri packs themselves. So I think we're going to see some different structuring this year. The question of hero support at this stage, I do think is one that we will have to wait and see, but I'm a little bit curious where we're going to go with this. So please, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think about the implications of Premium Pack. I'm very curious to see where we're going from here and just what Konami has in mind for 2026, as this is the beginning. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.